I almost dropped that. Oh, this close. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, my name is Griselda and welcome to my YouTube family. So in today's video, I am going to be doing some eyeshadow do's and don'ts. I have been asked so many times how I get my eyeshadow so nicely blended, so today is the day where I show you guys what I do, what techniques, what brushes, and how important an eye base is for your eyeshadow. So if you want to see the eyeshadow do's and don'ts, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to turn on your notifications so you get notified every single time I upload. And without further ado, let's get started with this video. Okay, so I brought you guys in a little closer so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to start off by doing the don'ts on the left side and the do's on the right side so you guys can see the difference. So obviously I did my foundation, my eyebrows, and everything else. I personally have really oily eyelids, so I have to always prime my eyes, and I have to use a really good eye base. So on my left side, I'm not gonna put a base on. I do have some oil already that has produced from the time that I applied my foundation and did everything else. So on my right side, I'm gonna apply soft ochre. You guys know I love this eye base. I love using this because it's a pro longwear, meaning it is a long-lasting eye base. It's a super light eye base, which I love to use with any type of eyeshadow. This base is gonna allow the eyeshadow to be a little bit more pigmented and a little bit more vibrant, whatever eyeshadow you use. That's why I like to use a base that is a little lighter than my skin tone. You can also use concealer, which I also do sometimes when I don't have my eye base at hand. I also like to use the Tarte Shape Tape concealer. The reason being is because it's super pigmented, obviously is full coverage. It also serves as a base because of the consistency of the concealer, and the same thing goes for the Pro Longwear. The only thing is the Shape Tape concealer I do have to set, and I don't have to set the Pro Longwear concealer because it does dry down to a matte and the Shape Tape doesn't. So that's the only difference between these two, but I do like to use these when I don't have my regular eye base. You can go in with your finger, but because I am super oily, I don't like to use my fingers because I feel like it does warm up the base and it does make it a lot more creamier. So I'd like to go in with a brush. I like to use a flat fluffy brush. This is the Morphe E30. I like it because it almost serves as a flat brush, but it also is fluffy, so it helps blend out the base as you go. And because this eye base is a creamy consistency, I also like to set this. This is just gonna seal the eye base, and it's going to allow it to just be super smooth. So I'm patting and kind of blending out any edges. And usually I like to just set it with any translucent powder, and I'm just gonna press it all over my lid just to kind of seal the eyeshadow base. And I just make sure that I just kind of press, and I drag it a little out just to kind of make everything smooth. As you guys saw on the left side, I didn't prime my eyes. So what I see a lot of people doing is going in with a really dense brush in the crease and starting in with a super dark color. So I'm gonna pick up this eyeshadow right here, and we are going to apply that in the crease, and we're just gonna go in back and forth. So as you can see, just going back and forth is just keeping the eyeshadow here, and it's not blending it very seamlessly. So just making the eyeshadow just stand out and very hard to blend out. So on the do side, I am gonna go in with this brush. This one is by Makeup Addiction, and it's called the Expert Blender, which is a super fluffy brush. It's not dense at all. The eyeshadow is going to be able to be blended out and spread out evenly throughout the whole crease. So on the do side, if I am gonna do a super dramatic eye, and I already have my foundation, my concealer, and everything already done, what I like to do is I like to go in with a translucent powder, and I just like to apply a little bit of that underneath my eye, just in case I do have any fallout. It's gonna be super easy to dust off. So going in with this skin tone color, I am just picking it up with that Expert blending brush, and we are gonna apply that in the crease. And I'm just holding the brush back here because I want to have control, but not so much, because I want to make sure that the eyeshadow is just spread out evenly. So we're just gonna go back and forth, and then windshield wiper motion and back and forth again. You're gonna do this a few times just to get the color desired. And I always like to apply a generous amount of the first transition shadow, just because you're gonna go in with a deeper shadow, and then sometimes the first transition shade does get lost in transition. So it's super important to have a good amount of that eyeshadow in the crease. I did go above, but I didn't go on my actual brow bone. That's super important as well. You want to keep it like right underneath the brow bone. So on the down side, I'm going to be using this brush right here that is semi-angle, but it's also flat and not fluffy enough. And I'm going to use a shimmer eyeshadow on my outer corner and in my crease. I'm going to pick up this eyeshadow right here. This is also something that I see happen often when applying a crease color. When applying a shimmer eyeshadow in the crease, it just adds texture and it doesn't look seamless. So I'm gonna apply this in the crease, and I'm just gonna apply it and then just kind of go in the crease. And what a lot of people do is hold the brush a little too close to the bristles. This is putting too much pressure, and it's not allowing the eyeshadow to just blend easily. And as you can see, it just doesn't blend out very smoothly, and you also get a lot of fallout because of the pressure that you're applying when trying to blend out the eyeshadow. So on the do side, I'm gonna be using a more dense brush, but it's also super fluffy and flexible. I definitely like to use a brush like this in my crease because I am able to apply it directly where I want it, and it doesn't go too high up. This is one of the brushes that I love to use when I want to have like a defined crease. So first I'm going to use this color right here, which is a little more on the brick side. And what I like to do is I like to apply a little bit of the eyeshadow on the tip, not on the actual stomach of the brush. And I'm holding the brush back here as well because I don't want to have too much control of the application. I want it to go in very smooth. So I am just gonna go kind of very lightly back and forth, and then windshield wiper motion. Just go back and forth with the eyeshadow until you're satisfied with the pigmentation of the eyeshadow. And I'm placing the brush on its stomach. I'm not doing it like this because sometimes what happens when you place the brush like this, the bristles kind of spread and the eyeshadow just goes too far up. And in between that, I like to go in with the Expert blending brush and just kind of marry those two colors together, and just going back and forth, circular motions and windshield wiper motions at the same time. So on the don't side, I'm going to pick up this pencil brush, but as you can see, this pencil brush is a little bigger than your normal pencil brush. And I'm going to pick up a darker brown, and I'm going to apply that on the outer corner and bring it up. Going in with this pencil brush, it doesn't give you a nice transition because it's super blocky where you can't see where each color starts. What I see a lot of people doing is kind of dragging the eyeshadow right in the inner corner, which is something that you don't want to do, especially if you want to have a smooth transition between each eyeshadow that you've applied. Now you've lost two of the colors. Now you can just see a brown eyeshadow. You can't see where each shadow starts. I'm gonna be able to have a super smooth transition. So on the right side, I am gonna use a smaller brush. This is a good precision brush because it is super small, and you're gonna be able to detail the crease a little bit better than using a super big pencil brush. And I am applying it directly into the crease. And again, I'm also holding the brush towards the end because I don't want to have too much control of the eyeshadow. And in doing so, this is going to allow you to see if you want to bring the eyeshadow a little bit higher, if you want to keep it that way. And then again, going in with that first Expert blending brush, you just want to go back in and just kind of blend everything together. And then if you need to apply a little bit more eyeshadow, then you can do so. So on the don't side, I'm going to be picking up this super shimmery champagne-y eyeshadow and I'm using a flat brush. There's nothing wrong with using a flat brush for your lid color. It's just the application that matters. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to swipe on the left side. And the reason why this is a huge don't is because you're not applying the eyeshadow exactly where it needs to be. You're just applying it all over the place, and it also kind of creates texture on the eye. And most importantly, it creates a lot of fallout. Because you're swiping it and the eyeshadow is super pigmented and you pick up a lot of eyeshadow. So what you're doing is when you're swiping, you're not applying it directly onto the lid. It's just kind of gliding on and is just falling all over your face. As you saw, it just kind of went everywhere. So on the do side, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that soft ochre with that same exact brush. I am gonna apply it right on my lid. And the reason why I like to do this is because sometimes the eyeshadow needs something to grab onto. So applying a little bit of the eyeshadow base back onto the lid allows that to just glide on a lot smoother. And as you can see, I am kind of patting the base and kind of creating that lid space where it gives me a guide to where to apply the eyeshadow. I cleaned off the base from the brush, and I'm gonna pick up that same exact eyeshadow. So what I like to do is I like to press the eyeshadow onto the lid so you don't get any fallout and the eyeshadow just stays on the lid. So on the don't side, I'm gonna pick up a pencil eyeliner. I personally don't like to use a pencil eyeliner unless it's to smudge out the lash line, but I don't like to use this to create a wing liner just because it's super hard to just kind of glide on smoothly. So I'm gonna apply this on the don't side. And as you can see, it's really hard to just glide on smoothly and evenly. It's just really hard to kind of get a wing out of a pencil. So on my do side, I'm gonna pick up a liquid liner and I'm just going to apply the eyeliner right on my lash line. I do have a wing liner tutorial, which I will also link in the description box as well, so you guys can check that out. But I feel like a liquid liner is super easy to just glide on and create a wing. So going back in with this super dark eyeshadow and that super large pencil brush, I'm gonna run that through my bottom waterline. And this is a huge don't for me just because this huge pencil brush is definitely gonna apply too much product underneath your eye. And it's also going to just gonna drag your eye a little too low. And as you can see, that fallout is not helping. I'm gonna try to dust off the fallout to see how much of that comes off. So as you can see, a lot of it is still underneath and it doesn't come off. You would basically have to remove your concealer and reapply, which is too much to do. So that's why it's super important if you are going to be using super dark colors to always apply a transition shade so it's easier to just kind of dust off any fallout. So on my do side, I'm going to dust off fallout. It may have fallen right underneath. So as you can see, I did have a little fallout, but none of it stuck to my actual skin. So it was super easy for me to just dust off. So now moving on to the bottom lash line on my do side, I'm gonna pick up this same transition shade that I used in my crease, and I am going to apply it with this smaller pencil brush. This one is a Sigma Pencil E30 brush. And I'm just gonna apply it right underneath my lash line. And then going in with that same brush and that same second transition shade, and we're gonna apply that directly onto the bottom of the lash line. To go in a little bit more precise, I like to pick up a flat synthetic brush, and I'm gonna pick up that same dark brown. And what I like to do is I kind of like to press it into my lash line and then blend it out. All right, everyone, so that concludes this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed my tips. And also, don't worry if you are on the don't side. I was there, and I was there. Let me tell you, practice makes perfect. I personally know from experience. I practice because, you know, this to me just didn't seem right. This to me was one of those things where I look in the mirror and I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? I think the best way to learn is by actually doing it. Remember that makeup is just makeup. It does come off, so if you do mess up, it's okay. Don't let that discourage you, because it does come off. It's not permanent. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video.